Welcome to the Other Side Pod. I'm Nadine. We're not experts. We're just humans having a human experience we think you can learn from, or relate to, or laugh at, or cry over. So hit download, dive in, and hear how folks found themselves on the other side. We're recording with Chantal. Okay, quick question. You can only have one type of sandwich in all of Ottawa. Where do you go and what are you ordering?
I don't know if you know this, but on TikTok, I have a sandwich,
Yeah.
you know that, right? I
Oh,
have a
yeah.
sandwich theory. Okay, that is an unfair question, first of all.
No, that's why I didn't tell you I was going to ask it.
Damn. Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, what kind of sandwich? The thing is, that's a hard question because so I've actually had to stop eating bread.
What?
Okay, and it's not it doesn't agree with me. Like because I we can get into this if ever you want to, but I'm pretty sure I have PCOS, I have endometriosis. Anyways, it's causing like so much abdominal pain like when I eat bread, and I realized that that sandwich series was probably not a good idea.
You're like, I really suffered for that for you guys, and you're
But how
welcome.
about this? What do I
Yes.
like in a sandwich? Because that was a hard question. I like a good piece of protein. It has to be a bit of like a meal in
Mm-hmm.
one. I like it saucy, but like I like a good like mayo type sauciness, like not a tomato.
Me
Because I was
too.
thinking torta boys was going to be my answer, but it's actually not the kind of sandwich that I go for. I don't
Yeah.
like a tomatoey, juicy sandwich. I like cold lettuce. I like lots of vegetables. I like lots of pickles. I need crunch.
Wait, does Torta Boys do sandwiches? Like I know I've gone there for their tacos and their margaritas are so damn good, but I didn't
So
know.
they're it's a torta. It's called a torta. It's like a
Yes,
big, warm
I did eat
kind of,
that.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
delicious.
messy. I did it with a white sweater.
Oh
That
my
video
gosh.
went like crazy viral.
I really love a good sandwich. You know, when I first moved here, I searched for a banh mi and there was nowhere to get them. Now
Mm.
there's lots of places and they're
Hmm.
delicious. My favorite being banh mi, yes. But
Hmm.
I went to Somerset. I think I lived here maybe 4 months. And I'm like, they will know where to get banh mi, these restaurants. And so I went into one and I asked, and he was like, if you want a good sandwich, go to DiRenzo's on Beach Street. It's not banh mi, but it's going to be good. And
Hmm.
that was, yeah, 17 years ago. And I still think DiRenzo's prosciutto sandwich with the extra spicy eggplant and
Eggplant.
mayo.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Hmm.
my favorite. Like there's so many good places, but that's my fallback. And maybe because it was like the first one when anybody would visit me, I would take them there. So yeah, it's got a place in my
Yeah,
heart.
it's
Yeah.
true. I was actually, while you were talking, I was thinking, I'm like, you know what? Like a Nicastro sandwich is a pretty
Yes.
safe bet. Or there's the one, actually, it's on Pleasant Park, and I don't know, is it like Roberto's, maybe?
I don't know it.
I actually used to live right there before I moved to Rockland, not realizing like it would become like one of the Ottawa's famous sandwich place.
What? Roberto's?
I think it's called Roberto's. Yeah, it's in a
Okay.
gas station. It used to be like a Quiznos. It's just like a random little. Yeah, I don't think I haven't featured their sandwiches yet.
Well, wait,
Um,
pick me up. I'll eat the sandwich and we'll
okay,
report
okay. Oh,
together.
okay.
Be like, here's my
Sounds good.
stand in for the sandwich
Or I'll bring
series.
like a wrap. I'll be like, can you make a wrap out of this? It's like easier to digest.
I'll take your gluten. You can take my dairy.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I'm so excited you're here. Please tell everybody who you are.
So my name is Chantal Sarkisian. I'm Armenian, and any last name that ends in IAN is likely Armenian. So that there's a little history lesson. But people know me as Chantsy, and actually a lot of people in Ottawa will like recognize me, and they're like, "Oh, it's Chantsy," and they'll say "Good makeup morning," which is a little tagline that I say every morning when I do my makeup. So I've been online I had to look back. It's been 15 years. So
Wow.
I started as a like I started doing like just creative blogs and that. So I was like playing around on the internet since 2010. But officially, I guess my last and most successful blog, which was it's called Mud Exclusive. That was my plus size fashion. That's what it was called at the time. Now I refer to myself more as like mid-size fashion. So I kind of started there. I was covering a lot of Ottawa stuff. It was actually a really nice time because, Rideau Center was like expanding. We got a lot of new stores. So we were going to like clothing store openings. And so it was a good content opportunity paired with, the influencer world was all starting at that time. And I didn't even know what it was, but I was like in it. And then that eventually led to Instagram and then now TikTok. So for the last, let's say 10 plus years, it's my side business or my part-time full-time job
Gosh.
that I've been doing I work full-time as well. And it's just a space that I get to be creative. I get to share my life experiences. I get to highlight local businesses in Ottawa. I get to share my like creative side, which could be my makeup or my styling. And yeah, it's kind of like my it's not my dump zone, but it's kind of like a piece of me online. And I've built a really nice community of amazing people that I have conversations with like every day. And yeah, that's I guess in a nutshell what I do, who I am.
Where did Chantsy come from?
So my friends in high school used to call me Shanty. But when back in like when I first started my Instagram account, that word wasn't available. So I was just like, I'll just put an S because that's my last name, Sarkisian. So I was like, I'll just do Chantsy. And then it just stuck.
Okay, wait, I want to go all the way back. It's 2010. What makes you start a blog?
So that's a good question. Okay, I'll even back it up even more than that.
Yeah, I love it.
I was the kid with a diary. Okay, I was the kid in high school with a disposable camera. I
Oh.
still have disposable cameras. I was the girl with the digital camera that took the club photos, that uploaded them late at night, tagged everybody, and then by morning, you'd be embarrassed.
Yeah, on tag.
So I feel like, and I only say that because it's like, it makes sense what
Mhm.
I'm doing now. It's comfortable. It's like my comfort zone. So what started it was honestly, it was kind of out of loneliness. So I'm from Toronto originally. I moved here for university and I never left because I met my now husband. It's been over 20 years, but it was part of it was just like, I need more. I'm like, I know there's more. So it's like part of it is like curiosity. It was a bit of boredom, wanting more out of like my current, like the social scene and things to do, places to go, shopping, like that was like I was hungry for it. And so the best way to, like quench your thirst or whatever is to like get in it and be proactive about it. So I was like searching and digging. I used to do like restaurant reviews on Urban Spoon. I have a Yelp account. So it's like I think about all these little things that I've done that I have kind of like like it just makes sense. It's like it's led me here.
It's just
So
such a
I
natural
started,
progression.
yeah, I remember like when blogging, it was new. It was a colleague I worked with, her daughter started a blog, and I was like, wow, this is cool. It's like a diary, but with photos, and you can put it online. And I was like, I feel like I would have stuff to share. And so I started a really like, it's a creative blog, I call it. And then it evolved. I kept going when I was on mat leave. I was doing like, places to visit when you're on mat leave and whatever. So I was kind of, yeah, I was doing it unintentionally, I guess. And like I was saying earlier, it was my fashion blog that kind of stuck because I guess where it came from is people would always compliment me and they're like, "Oh, like you look great. You always look put together." And I'm like, "This is a lot of work because I can't find clothes that fits me." So it's like I have to like really try hard or shop at specific places for this or like wear more compressive things to be a little bit more sleek. So I felt like I had all these tools or all these tips that I would be able to share. And that's where Mud Exclusive came from. So it's like it's an exclusive club, and I can give you all the secrets of like how to look good while living in a larger body. So yeah,
Oh, wait, Mud Exclusive is MODE, right?
Yeah, mud, and then exclusive like XL. I was trying
Right.
to be fun. Yeah.
No, I love it. I didn't want anybody to think mud, MUD, all our
Oh, right, right. Oh, right. Yeah,
Anglophones.
mud, MODE. That's
Right.
right.
Is that still going?
I'll put some content up there more for SEO purposes than anything else, but
Gotcha.
I realize now that it's set up with ads and everything, so it's not like the best reading experience.
Oh, okay.
I don't have time, and maybe one day when I'm bored, I'll revive it or something. But
I think you're using the platforms that people are consuming now, but I do think like long form writing is I feel it's coming back, and maybe that's just because I like to write and I like to read long form. And but there was a point of time where I wasn't reading. I mean, I read books, but I wasn't reading longer things on the internet because I was so used to those quick videos, quick little like 5 things to know about this or whatever in the world we're consuming. But
yeah,
now my brain just likes to sit with Substack and just like take in a really nice thing, article, snippet, newsletter, whatever. Anyway, so I do wonder if blogs will have a resurgence in that way. Like I know they didn't go away, but I'm just wondering if people will be looking for them again.
yeah. Well, I was going to mention Substack. It's an interesting way that is actually uh, like friendlier to monetize, because that's the problem with, people would have blogs, but if this was your business, you really had to think, okay, well, how can I make some money doing this? Because, got to pay the bills type thing. So that's where like sponsored content came in, and or YouTube being able to like YouTube to me was this was like my quote unquote biggest regret, because I had a YouTube channel back and I started it in like 2010. I had like stupid videos, like, they weren't like, it wasn't like real content, but I had done a makeup review. It was an Ottawa makeup company, and I had done a makeup review, which I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I had posted it, and then when I went back into my channel after doing a YouTube course, I noticed, I'm like, this video has gone, quote unquote viral, and I was like, man, if only I would have stuck with this and put as much time as I did on my blog, on Instagram, like I could have potentially been like a YouTuber.
I mean, you
Because I
still
would have
can.
given it that same energy. Yeah, and I do. I love like YouTube, and I love the whole process of like making a video. It's just it's very lengthy, and I have my full-time job and other things, and
You have to pick your battles.
one day, yeah, one day.
I
I,
mean,
I do post a lot of my reels, but
I
yeah.
just created a YouTube channel to have a platform to host the podcast because
Okay.
I use Apple and Spotify, and you can get it wherever your people consume their podcast. But I'd never thought of YouTube. And then I was chatting with a friend of mine who's in her late 20s, and she was like, "FYI, a lot of people my age are consuming their podcasts on YouTube." I was shocked, and then I started to look into it, and it's actually I think the most popular platform to consume podcasts. Like when I say shocked, like I would have paid you money if that was a bet. I'd been like, no way. Because to me, I
Hmm.
listen to podcasts when I'm walking Theo or cooking dinner, or I would never sit and watch a video. But unless it was like a makeup tutorial, or I love to
Yeah.
watch women trying on clothes. That is my favorite thing to consume. Like it brings me so much joy when you put up like, okay, here's one of my favorite things that you do. You're like, I got this. Here's where I got it. I ordered it online and I got it in this size and this size. Let's just see. And I am glued. Like, it is like it's back in 1996 and I cannot miss the last episode of Friends before the season finale. Like, I'm like, how
Wow.
does this fit? What does this look like? What's she going to pair it with? Those shoes or those shoes? This bag, this bag. I
Yeah.
love it. I love clothes. So I love that you do that. And I mean, I guess if you're already creating the content, which is where my brain went, I'm like, I'm already creating the content. I just have to make the effort to sit, create this YouTube channel, and then upload all the past ones. And moving forward, it seems so easy. I'm like, oh, I can just schedule it to go up with when my podcast comes out.
You
This
got
is
to be
not,
smart with the content because you're putting in so much effort and time to create it. It's got to be
yeah.
on, like, yeah, you got to maximize it for sure.
Totally. Okay, so blogging, right. I didn't even think of that. Blogging, in order to make your time and your energy and all that effort worthwhile, because, like, yes, you want to do it because you were bored and you were looking for an outlet for your creativity. And also, I think you're pretty like clued into what's going on. I'm the same way. I moved here. I'm like, where do I get this sandwich? Where do I get this? And then I have all that information, and I love to share it. I mean, I love telling people about things that I love. So you're taking all this time though, and you're also, well, you become a mom, you get married, you know, you have a full-time job. You're like, okay, how can I make money from this as well? And then with blogging, it was advertising.
Yeah, well, it was, yeah, sponsored content, but
Oh,
that
yes,
only
and that.
came, yeah, that came honestly more during the days of Instagram. I wasn't positioned yet to be doing sponsored content on my blog because, again, it's all about stats, readership, how many eyeballs are on your content. And the other thing is, don't forget, this world is like gatekeeping. Nobody's sharing. This wasn't a place where you're like, how do you monetize this business? Oh, here's a book for it, and this is how you do it. It was all like, if you were lucky, you spoke to someone who was doing this for a little bit more, who was already monetizing. They'd give you, plant a few seeds. And I'm very grateful for those conversations that I have had, because you're just like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Like, this is all new to me. So it's like, yeah, discovering what's possible and then having enough energy to make it happen. You have to hustle. It's a business, right? And it's like I call them assignments. Every project, you have a full like project management component to your assignments. You got to negotiate your prices, negotiate the content. Like, you need to have energy to do that. And you need to be not just resilient, but you got to persevere. There's going to be no's, there's going to be yeses. Sometimes it's for free. Sometimes you make some nice money with like a kind of corporate brand, a bigger brand. Sometimes it's a local business that you just love and you're like, it's not really about the money. So it's not like these are my rates and like, don't talk to me. That's my way of doing it, by the way. So it could be different. If you're working with a manager, they do all that negotiation for you and maybe your rates are more standard. So it's very different, and it's really like you're talking to a business owner. So not everyone runs their business the same.
Yeah, that makes sense. When did it transition from a blog into the point where you were like, I'm an influencer? Right, that's what I do. Like, and I have to go out and look for those contracts or those projects and those assignments, and I have to negotiate my rate, and I have to set time to do this, and I have to plan out the project and then deliver. When did you realize, shit, this is what I'm doing, and it's a full-time job that I'm doing part-time?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I would say, probably a good year or some into it. I was working with Additionel, who is now Pennington. It's the same company. I did some like paid work with them a long time ago. I used to do TV segments. We would have models, and I'd ask my followers like who wanted to be a model, and then I would kind of put together a package. I was like, I'll do a blog post, I can do the TV segment. I was making little packages for them, and yeah, but again, it was like early conversations of, I remember there was one blogger that I was talking to that this was her full-time job. And I was like, oh, like you're making money doing this. And then I've met to many conferences and they were talking about that whole process. And, like again, like it's entrepreneurship. You have to be creative with your pitches. What are you doing? What are you selling? Why you have to sell yourself because there's so many more people. Now the market is flooded. There's so many creators. Like everyone is a creator that has an account pretty much. So it was cool. Like it was happening. You just don't know until one day the word influencer pops up and you're like, oh, like I'm an influencer, I guess. Like
Hmm.
nobody liked that word. Nobody wanted to be associated with that word. I was always calling myself a blogger because I had a blog. Whereas others who just kind of started with Instagram, who didn't have those websites, like I guess they called themselves creators or influencers, but people tried not to use the word influencer for as long as possible until it was just like a thing.
I get it. I get it.
I don't know
Uh,
why it's so cringy, but
Conferences? Was there conferences for creators? Tell me everything.
yeah. So it was called Blog Her, and it was in the States. It was in New York. I went. I think that year it wasn't as great as it had been in the past, but it was something that I was following online. But yeah, it was like, just like any conference that you would go to learn about your craft, to network.
Whoa.
But I didn't find it as helpful, honestly, as a Canadian creator because you may or may not know this, but Canadians have a different ad standard. We have to follow specific rules using hashtag ad, hashtag sponsor. There's things that we have to do when we're being paid, even gifted. There's a whole bunch of like regulations which are different than the States, but we look towards the States for a lot of their, like, they were the leaders in all of this. So going to those conferences gave you an advantage. But if you think about it, when you're running a blog, like you're basically learning how to create a website, how to maintain your website, and then you have to do photography, and then it's like learning about photography. Now video, learning about editing. There's so many components to the business.
You used to take your digital photos, you'd upload them, and you were writing. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming the blogging, all that came to you naturally. But then when you realize, when you actually pull back the curtain and look at all the stuff behind the scenes that you do, what was the hardest thing for you to learn, to like master?
I think even till this day, photography is if you want to do a good job. Like I used to work a lot actually with local photographers. That was my favorite thing to do because I could just focus on like I could do my makeup, my hair, get myself ready, do my styling, my outfits, and then they can just really take care of the craft of photography and making sure like the photos are high res enough, especially if the images were part of the package that I was selling to clients. So I think photography is very difficult. Also video with that. I definitely embraced creating videos, and I actually took a YouTube course. It was an online course, which was amazing. And it got me kind of back into doing more videos on my channel. And I had done over 100 videos when Reels started on Instagram. And I was like, I have a leg up from most people because I can edit a reel in no time because I've
Wicked.
done hundreds of videos, like long form videos. So I know how to edit, to cut, I can do transitions. It was very basic knowledge, but I had taught myself. And so it was less daunting compared to someone who's like, oh my God, reels, like this is totally new, playing with videos, uploading this and that.
Going back to you just reminded me that Instagram has not always been like it is.
Hmm.
We just become so adapted to it, you forget. And now I remember, right, Instagram was literally just a photo. So when you started to use it for branding, being a creator, being an influencer, it didn't have reels and it didn't have stories. I'm going to guess when you started using it, it was just literally the grid.
Just pictures. Yep. It started with pictures, but I do remember when stories came, and that was like, I loved it. I was
Okay.
like, because I just like loved making videos. I felt comfortable in front of the camera. I was like a child entertainer. Like I used to dance. I used to dance Armenian dancing. I was
Oh,
in a group. I used to be in a choir. So like I was on stage all the time. I used to do poems, like all kinds of stuff. So what that means is showing up in front of a camera was not difficult. It was like, I got this. And so again, a lot of people, that's part of their growing pain is like being comfortable in front of the camera, being yourself, being natural, being able to speak like eloquently and share your thoughts. So I also felt like I had a leg up there once the cameras were on, and
right.
I embraced it. I liked it more than photos.
I feel like you're an early adopter to all these things. Some people are
Agreed.
intimidated. You know, they're
Yeah.
like, I'm really good at this. I know how to use this. I'm going to stick with it. But you're like, what else is out there and how can I adapt to it? Which I guess you have to be. And also, I feel like your brain is full of ideas and you're like, oh my gosh, how else can I get this out? So when TikTok came, okay, so Instagram, Reels come out. Obviously, stories came first. I'm pretty sure stories came first, right? And then
Stories came
Reels.
first. Reels
Okay,
came when TikTok was
right. TikTok
already, yeah.
got you.
So guess who was watching hours and hours of TikTok during
COVID.
COVID, being like,
Right.
what the hell is this?
Did
Like a live
you immediately
random
love it?
video. So here's the thing about TikTok and why I love it. This was for me the first time where you were rewarded for being an interesting person versus for having like aesthetics and perfect and pretty and your feed is perfect and like how much time did we waste like, oh, like you should put
Oh,
this
yeah.
picture and then that one and blah blah blah, and it
Yeah, the
has to be all edited
grid.
the same, and
Mhm.
oh yeah, so there was none of that. Just be interesting. and people will listen, have interesting
Mm.
things to say. It doesn't have to be fancy. In fact, the more raw your footage was, it's like your video rate would do better than, you know what I mean? It's like you're rewarded for not trying so hard, which
Mm.
was really just nice. Like something was lifted off my shoulders. You could be stupid and silly and
Yeah.
funny, and that's what I loved about it. Because I was like, okay,
Why?
finally I could just be myself. I don't have to be overly,
Why did it
you
go?
know.
Like, why did those videos do better? And is it still the truth?
Now it's hard to say what will perform, even though there's a bunch of algorithms trying to push, content in a certain direction, like even if it's like SEO driven or, they'll tell you, oh, people are looking at this video, like create more, whatever. But it's always like the most random thing that will just start going viral. There are little tricks. Like I have Mr. Cac is a dessert place in Ottawa. Actually, it's close to Roberto's Sandwich. It's on Pleasant Park.
Okay.
And I did a video there, like introducing the dessert, and it was my first like food video that went insanely viral. The next day, they had a lineup out their door, and he said he sold 1,000 pieces of the dessert. And he's
Ah,
like, I wish I knew. He's like, I didn't know what was going on. And he's like, I wish I knew because it takes time to prepare the desserts and this and that. But anyways, it's a phyllo pastry with like a custard inside,
mm.
and it has an awesome crunch. So I opened the video with the crunch. So there's a bit of strategy there. But otherwise, like I'm literally sitting in my car and it's winter time. I think I had a ponytail. I wasn't made up and I wasn't in a fancy outfit.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, car videos. Do a video of you talking in your car and it's like it's bound to do well.
So
Um,
weird. Why? What is that? What's happening?
I think it's good audio because you have like good audio, acoustics are good in the car. And I think it's relatable.
Yeah.
Like we all like I love to just like sit in my car like after a workout and just like
Oh,
hang
I've
out.
watched so many videos you made, and you're like,
Peaceful.
my
Yeah.
face is red. Do you know how hard that workout was? And, or
Yeah.
I've also watched you eating dessert, and I'm just like, what is she trying? Where is it? Like, you made me want to go all the way out to Rockland. There's a bakery out there that you go to sometimes, and I'm like, God, this place looks amazing. Oh, what's it
Oh,
called?
the black walnut?
Yes, the Black Walnut
Yeah.
Bakery.
Yeah, it's in
Yeah.
Summerland. Yeah.
What I like about it is, well, there is something about you telling me, like, go try this because I find you relatable and I find you really honest, which I like. You're like, I'm gonna go find the best sandwich. I'm gonna go eat this dessert and see what it's like. And you're not mean when you don't, when it's not necessarily your thing, but there's a certain way you talk about the thing you're talking about when you really love it. So I do want to talk about the realness of you. And was that something that you were like, was that a shift? Because I didn't know you before. So was it more curated before? And now you're like, I'm going to be more me? Or were you always kind of exactly who you are now in your
I'd like to
videos?
say that I've always been the same person that I am, and I've received that a lot, that I'm like authentic, and that's a word that gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
But or people are like, "Oh, you're just like you're the same," when they meet me in person and stuff. And that's the biggest compliment, and that's what I'm trying to do. It's funny, like I think about lately I've been thinking about this concept of people wanting spotlight or wanting attention, but then when you have it, you have to be ready to be in that position. Because I think about stars who get famous, and it's like ultimately that's not the role for them. Like they don't like that fame. So there's a little bit of that like discomfort where you're like, okay, like I'm at the grocery store and it's like people recognize me and I'm just like having to keep my shit together. But the reality is I'm probably yelling at my son because he hit me with the cart, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, there's people here, they're gonna see me. Like be here, Bessie here. But like that's also very relatable. And it's like, yeah, if you saw me yelling at my son today, no, you didn't.
Yeah. I waited till I got into the car because it was good acoustics and I knew he'd hear every single word.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, being authentic, being real to me is like it's freeing. It's really hard to mask. I have a professional job and like sometimes I feel like I have to like just kind of maybe tone it down. And although I do work in an environment that's like I can be myself and that's very important to me, that's what I feel like when you do your best work, you're the most creative. Like, because like wearing a mask is heavy, you know?
Hmm.
So if you can just take it off, tap into your act, it's like pure self confidence. You know, I think that's when the content becomes good. If you're funny, it'll be extra funny. You know, like just it's more liberating to just be
Yeah.
yourself, literally.
And you also post when you're like having a hard day. You know, like you got a lot of biopsies done this year on your
Yeah.
skin, and I watched you and I could see it in your face and finding your way back to the gym after having those biopsies. And I just there's something so genuine about it and authentic that you want to go back and check in on you. And then when you see you put together an outfit for Christmas, I'm like, oh my God, that is so great. Like, so it's not that you're like, oh, it's the holidays, I got to pretend I'm happy. Like, I think you had some of those biopsies last Christmas, right? Like, you put something up
Yeah, I had
saying,
my surgery. Yeah, I had
yes,
my the one on I had basal cell carcinoma on my nose, had that surgery. I go back to that stuff because I'm like, man, like it's been a year. I like to check in on my progress and
yeah.
yeah, like trying to find my own energy back or motivating myself back. And I'm lucky I don't have like I have very good mental health and I'm very resilient. Like it's not to say that things haven't happened to me, but I've just really been able to work through stuff.
And you
And
share like because that
yeah,
helps other people going through it, you know? It's like, oh, this person isn't perfect. That's why I keep consuming what content you put out
yeah,
there because I'm like, oh, this
not
is
just the
refreshing.
highlights.
No,
Yeah,
I
not
find
just
it
the highlights.
so refreshing, which is why I'm like, can we podcast about what it's really like to be an influencer? And you were like, we could talk for a full day. There's so many things.
Yeah.
And I knew you wouldn't hold back when I asked like, yeah, like what is it like to constantly have to put out content? God, Chantal, it's got to be exhausting.
So, okay, but it's because I don't see it that way. To me, it's fun.
Oh, I
Honestly, I'd
love
have a live
that.
feed. I would do, sometimes
Ah!
I hold back because I'm like, oh, they don't care about these tiny
Oh my
details.
God, wait, you just said you'd have a live feed. Oh my God. Okay, we need to talk about how your husband and your son play into this because I get
They
it.
would
And
hate
I,
it.
so you're like, I would have a live feed. I have to pull back from creating content. It's not exhausting. Actually, it gives me energy. What in the world? Like, how do they play into that? And how do they tell you to like knock it off or like keep
Okay.
me out of it?
So as you can see, I feature myself primarily,
Hmm.
and I try to put people in like a good light, because like my son grew up in this generation where like mom had a phone in her hands the whole time kind of thing. And so I do like I consciously I put it down and I'm like I am a present mother and I am tending to your needs. So with my son, I've made a conscious effort to scale back and I try to respect because we were learning about this too. A lot of parents would put their kids online like it was kind of normal and then it was like, oh, like children's privacy and all this stuff that you have to think about. You're not doing it to be like evil, but you're just not thinking about what can go wrong because you're
Hmm.
not doing it with like evil intent.
Yeah.
So
And you
yeah,
don't know
trying
the
as
evil
they
out
grow up.
there, like the
Yeah,
people that will make
exactly.
it evil, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, p paring that down. Like he's almost 13 now, so it's, their friends are getting their his friends are online and stuff, so kind of navigating that territory. And with my husband, like he's an introvert and hates the camera. But he'll do it for me. He'll do it for if it's, if we're going out to dinner and that's part of the content that we're creating, he'll put on his smile for the camera. But my joke is when he used to take, like the Instagram husband, when he'd take my photo, it was like, I got one shot. You only get one shot. Do not miss a chance.
This opportunity comes to
Yeah. So, like Evan, I got one shot. And I was like, okay, fine.
you're like, hey, hon, TikTok's gonna love you because they don't like curated content. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna be viral. David likes to think
Yeah.
he's a great Instagram husband and he takes like a million shots. Here's what he actually does though. I'll be like, okay, take this photo, and he's like, yeah, and then he goes, "Trrr," and he takes like
Yeah.
literally 30. But I like I'll be in the middle of moving, and then he's like, done. You got a lot to choose from, and I'm like, that doesn't this isn't. Meanwhile, I take the shot and I'm like, where's the background? And I'm going to line him up and I want him right under the tree. I'm like, I'll get the snow to drop right in front of his eye. It's just, I mean, I'd
The
be
sun
such,
in the back
I'm,
coming.
I'm a great Instagram wife, but he also
Yeah.
doesn't really. much care for the socials, but doesn't mind me chatting about him. I don't think he's never really said anything to stop. So I mean, I've been sharing David stories. I used to teach the spin classes, and like every day I would tell something about David. So we'd be walking down the street and run into somebody, and they're like, "Oh, David, I heard." I don't know. You end up
Yeah, he's
going,
like, pardon me.
and he's like, "Nadine's anything sacred?" I'm like, "No, no," because I just think it's relatable. Like I want people, like I'll put up
Yeah.
a photo of David and I on Instagram, and look how cute we are, but. I don't know. Like one time we were on vacation and I'm like, we just had I think I was really stressed with work. And I remember being like, gosh, I put up all these nice photos on vacation, but you and I were at each other's throats for like 2 days of it. And I put that up. I'm like, I love this guy. I'll argue with him in any continent, because that stuff happens. And then
Yeah.
we don't feel like we're failing at life. We're like, oh, I don't have that partnership. I don't have that kind of business. I don't have that kind of kid. It's like we all have our own share of shit, I should say. And to
Hmm.
me, it's so nice to be able to be open about that. I mean, obviously there's some things that are private, or especially if David was going through something and he didn't want me to share it, I wouldn't. But it just makes me feel more connected to humanity when I share and people share back. And I'm like, oh, right. Like someone posted something last night and my sister sent it to me and she was like, you will love this. And it was about how friendships change when you go through something big. And like some friends can really see you through it and walk with you, and some friends just can't show up with you. And like it wasn't a bitter post. It wasn't like I'm better off without you people. It was just this really beautiful way of summing up an experience that probably we all go through if we are lucky to live long enough, and relationships change and evolve and you lose some people. And she shared it with me and I'm like, yes, this is how I felt for a long time, and I didn't have the words to put it so eloquently, and I felt so comforted last night. And oh my gosh, I'm like, this is why we share stuff, not to complain, not to, I don't know, get
It's your
attention.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's your like, yeah,
it's like because when I put up about getting my biopsies this year, you wrote me right away and you're like, been there, how are you? And I'm like,
yeah,
right, because it's scary to get a skin biopsy.
yeah.
Anyway, so that's what, I don't know. I went off on a tangent there. That
No,
has
but
happened.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
add to that because I can like, so my son has ADHD and this is a big part of like me learning to be a good parent and give him what he needs. And there was a point where I was sharing a lot about this journey and people were interested and I had such good conversations. Then one person was like, this is his personal health information and you're sharing it and and I was like, damn,
Mm,
that's a good point.
right. Right.
And I pulled back a lot, but I feel like it's still my experience as a parent, and I feel like I could still help and teach other parents like I help and teach the teachers that are in a school because we have, a lot of challenges. But, so it's like what's the line? What
That's a
part of the
great
story is
question.
mine? And then what part is his? And so I did pull back, but yeah, so I understand what you're saying. It's probably a similar experience where you're like, well, this is my version of this experience and it affects you and it affects your connections and
And
yeah.
and that's such a good point with your son, because your husband and David are adults and they can understand the implications of saying yes or saying no. But right, he's almost 13 and his little brain is still developing, doesn't fully get it. And on the flip side, he might just be like, no, because when you're 13, you're like, Mom, you're not cool at all, because that's what every 13-year-old
Yeah.
thinks. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that evolves as he grows up and either wants to share his experience or not. But I can see how that's a line you got to figure out what crosses it, and what keeps you in bounds. And that
Hmm.
probably changes too, right?
And it's not actually just my with my son. It's like I have friends that I hang out with and actually most of my friends, they don't use social media. So it's like I'll be doing all these like exciting things, but like my phone's, I'm like, I don't need my phone because it replaces loneliness. Just like when I started my blog, it was like it was like a loneliness thing.
Mm,
So when I'm with people, I'm like, I don't freaking need this phone. Like get rid of it because I don't need it.
yeah.
Um, so even protecting their privacy, let's say, like if I'm with a group of people that are not really online, like I'm not going to share so yeah, it's just you adjust as you go.
Was there ever a time when you wanted to pull back for you, or no? Well, I mean, I guess you just said it because we're like, I would have a live stream.
Well, yeah, it's funny. Like, I mean, on certain days, I feel really creative and I'm like, yes, like, oh, this is content, this is content. Like, I'm good. And then other days, I'm like, I'm exhausted. I just want to rest. I don't want to do this. Like, get rid of my phone. So I think it's just like ups and downs depending on what I'm going through, depending on the stuff that I have to do. Like right now, holiday time, my God, like I'm so busy. And I just wrapped up a big project that is a little bit of a secret and it'll come out soon. But like to do something December 15th, I'm like, it's very a lot of stress. And like right now, this time of year, trying to wrap things up. And yeah, so it's funny. It's like it's up and down. It's just not consistent. But I guess I've always been one to share those ups and downs. It's like one story you're down, the other one you're up, and it's like that's just a human experience because we got to get through those difficult times. I have a hard time watching content, and I kind of feel bad saying this, but when people overly share their mental health struggles, I find it very difficult to stay tuned in that because I feel like it also brings you down. Like you obviously feel for them, but I think people should do that very mindfully because it can be, I don't know, perpetuating like a lot of negativity because the goal is to get out of these things, right? So sharing the resilience part, that's why I try to balance it, but I do try to preserve like if I'm not doing well or whatever, I try not to share too much of that.
Yeah, you want to give a snippet, but you're sensitive to how other people might take that in and how that might alter their mood or yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right. I don't know if I am. I'm just trying to think of has have I stopped following anybody cuz no, honestly, for me, I have a hard time with the word resilience. Like it's beautiful. Resiliency is beautiful, but I don't think it's something that we're like we can attain this. I think it's just something we slowly work at. It's like a muscle we work, and it's worked when you go through pretty difficult times. And I would hate for someone to be like, well, I guess I'm just not as resilient. So I'm kind of like, share the mess. Let's dig into it.
Mm.
What I struggle with when I see online is oh, look how resilient I was. I got through that. But then again, who am I to judge? Because it's your platform and you share what you want to share.
So
Okay. Yeah.
can I add to that for a sec? So
Please.
I guess in the work that I do where because I'm doing mid-size fashion, I follow a lot of like plus size creators, mid-size creators, and then there's this big word called body positivity, which is very loaded.
Yeah.
And then there's how you feel about yourself. And now there's that extra layer of like Ozempic and weight loss and skinny talk and all this stuff. And so for my own, let's say, mental health or what I'm consuming, I'm all about empowering women. I don't want to ever start nitpicking, oh, my this fat here and that fat here. I can think that, but I think it's a little bit damaging to expose it. And I've seen some videos where they're like,
Mm,
here's a photo that you see. And then it's like, here's what I see. I see like the fat here under the armpit. I see this, that. And I'm like, I have to worry about my armpit fat now. Like I'm already, I have
right.
my thing. So it's like putting a bit of a spotlight on more things to be concerned with.
Right.
Whereas I'd prefer to be like, okay, matter of fact, I'm a size extra large. You can buy this sweater here. This is how you pair it. If you want it to be more flattering, you can do this, you can do that. So that's what I mean by like I had to unfollow some people that were just focusing on kind of
Uh,
negative stuff. And I just like, yeah,
right. It
that's
almost
the
made you
part where,
even more negative about your body. And like, let's be honest, as two women who live in this world, it's like already we can be hard enough on ourselves. So you're like, I don't need
yeah,
to be reminded that now I need to be aware that is there fat on my armpit. Yeah,
yeah,
1000%
yeah.
relate to
So that's
that.
kind of, yeah, that's kind of the
Right.
context that
That's
I
the
was,
one. I get it. Right. So going to mid-size fashion, you've always been interested in fashion. And you said you were like, I had to do extra work to go find clothes that I felt really comfortable and confident in. And then people would be like, where'd you get it? And that kind of spurred you to start writing about fashion. So
yeah,
were you like this in high school? Were you always like well dressed
I was
or
always put together. I
yeah?
mean, I grew up in Toronto. I went to Catholic high school, so I wore a uniform, but I had my first job like when I was 15. So like I bought all my stuff myself. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I was very independent. Everything I bought was with my own money, but I got my diesel jeans. I got, like
Oh my God, yeah. Remember
we'd be
Parasuco? Parasuco just came to my
Parasuco,
brain.
yeah. Yeah, but I was proud of my diesel jeans because diesel was expensive at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so just having fun with clothes. My mom, she raised us on fashion television. My mom is a little fashionista. She would she'd go to, consignment stores and vintage shops and take stuff and repair them and clean them and tailor them for, yeah. She's like the
Cool.
original nasty gal. Like that's the beginning of that story. So my mom always did that. So she was always like really big into clothes. I kind of got that from her.
And
And
so
yeah.
like, it's changed quite a bit, like the accessibility to clothing. If you're any size larger than an eight, like
Yeah.
it's really come full circle. Except, I mean, there's so much we could talk about. Like, how much time do you have? Because we get into bodies and Ozempic and all of that. This is like a whole other podcast. But I do want to touch on it because this is some of your most popular content, or the content you put out most, right? Is because I know you
Mhm.
do cooking, I know you do food, I know you do a lot about moving and lifting, but you also do a ton about fashion and clothing and dressing your body. So, do you see a big shift in it?
Yeah, actually, so I feel like there was a good intro, like there was a lot more brands kind of extending sizes, and now actually it's decreased.
Oh,
So yeah, so it's like COVID obviously did did a little bit of disruption there, like even just for example, a Chanel brand, which was absorbed by Pennington, and Pennington is now like the like mother brand. The additional line is still available. But now we're talking about like this is a Canadian company, but in Canada we'd have even less options. Like there's more options in the States, there's more options in the UK. And now with like tariffs and everything, like shopping online is a gamble unless there's like already, agreements. But most of the time, the reality is, as an extra large person who wears extra large, you will not be able to shop at the mall. You have to do your shopping online. So this is where things get very tricky. You want to go in and try a whole bunch of pair of jeans. Like you don't want to have to buy six jeans and then return five. But that's kind of the reality. That's why I buy a lot of stuff online. So personally, I like H&M a lot. Abercrombie is really nice too. They have nice quality things in a little bit bigger sizes and they have extended sizes. But I think, whatever's left now in person is Pennington. Reitman's has a good extended sizing, but the bigger sizes always go first.
ah,
Yeah, so uh, such a that's a big topic. Like we could just dive into is accessibility for sizing and online shopping versus in store and how that's changed. And there's just been a lot of brands announcing that they're not doing their extended sizing anymore and stuff. So
and are
I feel
they?
like the work that we do is important because we're like, okay, well, here's where you can still shop regardless of all of that noise.
Yeah. So when you do those videos that I love watching you do, where you like try on different things and you do put links to where you got it, and you'll say if this is a partnership or if this is just you needed a new bathing suit, you're going on vacation or what have you. Is
Yeah.
that the ones that get the most, what do you call it,
Like, do
engagement?
you? Yeah, I find people end up more interested in the things that I'm like not promoting. It's like, oh, that's a nice outfit. Where's that from? Where's that from? Where's that? And I'm like, I already shared it, but here it is again, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you know what else I like that you do? You're like, this skirt is from 3 years ago. Like, I like
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be brand new every single year just because it's a Christmas party or what have you. Because, well, we both know that it's not easy to
yeah,
go out and have to buy the newest of the new. And honestly, there's no end to it because if anybody with a phone that's looking at any social media, there's you can find something, and let's say you get that skirt or those pair of shoes, then the next day there's a jacket you want and a sweater you want and a bag you want. I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't end. Like, and I love clothes. And when you place an order and you're like tracking your order online, you're like, oh my God, when that comes, I'm gonna be so happy. And you are. Like, I am over the moon for probably a full day. And then, a week later, there's a new thing that pops up on my phone that I'm like, oh my God, if I just had that, it's so
Yeah.
hard to keep up. So seeing somebody go back and post something and they're like, oh yeah, I got this last year, I wore this last, or at this Christmas party or whatever. And it's kind of nice to shop your closet, like to save your
Hmm.
stuff, especially your special pieces, and go back and wear them. But anyway, back to extended sizing. What is the reason that they're giving for canceling their extended sizes?
Hmm. It's BS. No, I'm kidding.
I think it is. Yeah.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I challenge the idea that it's not lucrative because I think what you hear is that it's more expensive, you use more material, blah, 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 blah.
Makes me
But the
so mad.
reality is, you go to stores and what's left on the sale rack is all smaller sizes. So, like, you can't tell me that, like, smaller sized people are have more money or something. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it seems so, doesn't it? How it's set up. Like the fact that you can't go to the
Yeah,
mall and like try on 6 pairs of jeans. It's like, why? Why is this so
yeah,
hard to do? And I'm sorry. How much more material, really? Like, I can't. Like, think
yeah,
of it's not like they hold back from doing, what do you call it when they do like baggier clothes? Like, there's a lot of clothes. Like, think of the row. That beautiful, beautiful.
yeah.
Like, so much of their things are a lot of material because it's cool and looks great and all that.
Right?
But I'm like, give me a break. Whoever else is telling me you can't just like make an XL or a 2XL or a 3XL, like, come on. And
Yeah.
for the people who continue to do, like, Birds of North America is this beautiful brand, and she does like, I think she's been doing extended sizes for, I want to say as long as she's been creating clothes, but that might be wrong. But I'm like, come on. She's like a small Canadian, I mean, not that small, I suppose, but she's a Canadian designer. Like, if she can do it and create all these beautiful prints that fit every body, or most, or a lot of bodies, I shouldn't say everybody because there's always going to be someone that's not being serviced, but how hard is it for Aritzia or like a big brand with a lot of money?
Hmm. So
Makes me mad.
Aritzia has extra large, mostly at online only. And
Why isn't it in
if
the stores? I
yeah,
don't get it.
because they need space for the extra, extra, extra smalls.
Right? Give me a break. Okay, so being someone who creates content for mid-size fashion, what are you hoping to do?
My goal is to help women like rethink how they get dressed. And I use clothes as a means to build confidence. Or like my makeup or getting ready, like this idea of taking some time to get put together. It's not frivolous and it's actually very good for it helps to build your self-esteem because there is a bit of a stigma of like, oh, like you have like nice hair, nice makeup, nice clothes, like, that there's no value in that. But presenting yourself in the best version of yourself, it naturally builds confidence and it's just an up cycle from there, you know?
Yeah, when you feel
Mhm.
good, you walk differently. Like, you put yourself out into the world differently. You carry on conversations differently because yeah, you're right. You like have this inner confidence, and we all have something about ourselves that we're insecure about. But what a difference when you wear your favorite thing.
Mhm.
Oh,
And honestly, when you like yourself more, you hate others less. And it's like, it's good for everyone.
love that. You're so right. When you like yourself more, you hate others less. Not making
Yeah,
excuses.
yeah.
I
So,
love
because
that
you
you
have to
said
love
that.
yourself before you can love someone else. And so when
Yeah.
you are confident and you're like, a person who has like this confidence or that like takes care of themselves, like I don't judge people. I don't make fun of people. I never like stoop to that level because I got made fun of for being a bigger person or whatever. But I'm just like, let me teach you, like you can do better. Like there's a better version of you that you'll love more, you know?
That's
So
so lovely. I'm sorry you were
mhm.
picked on or someone bullied you. That's
That's where my sense of humor came. because that's the best. That's the best defense.
Is there a brand that you've done a campaign with or a program with that you've just loved? Like it's been one of your favorites?
So it's hard because I've been doing this for 10 years. So one of the cool things I did in early days, like I did a little campaign with H&M, and to
Cool.
me that was like a store that I like actually shop at. That's 90% of my outfit, like of my clothes is from H&M. If I'm buying it, it's going to be from H&M. So to have done some work with them, that was pretty cool. And yeah, it's tough. Like I actually what I've worked on December 15th, I don't want to share it. It's still too premature, but it'll all make sense. I'll send it to you when it's done. Like it's a local opportunity and I think that's pretty fun.
Okay, cool. That's like one of your
But yeah,
tops.
it was yeah, and I think it's probably because I haven't really done like a good photo shoot in a while. And this kind of re-sparked my joy of getting creative and working with the photographer. Okay, how about this? How about that? Like, so yeah, it's a little modeling gig
Nice.
that I
Is
got. So
is there any company that you dream about working with?
I would love a good brand trip. I would love to do something that included like travel. I don't do like travel content necessarily, but if it would be like something to visit like a Canadian city or something, or that would be lovely. So manifesting some brand trips.
I like it. Is there any company that asked you to work with you and it just was not a part of your values or ethos and you had to say no?
Yeah, there's lots of stuff that I have to weed through. So like my non-negotiable is diet culture stuff. I don't do cannabis. Alcohol is like here and there. If it's a local company, I'll feature like local. And then gambling and casino, that kind of thing. Like I have done some stuff and it kind of got me thinking. I was like, I'm not sure like I want to be pushing this stuff. So a lot of it is kind of like, yeah, you like your personal ethics or personal values, like what you align with. So
Hmm.
that's kind of my thing.
And I get the feeling from you, it has to be something that you would already consume or be doing or be interested in. So if it's
Yeah,
not something that you're
absolutely.
like, oh, I'm not gonna go do this on a Friday night, I'm not gonna post about it kind of deal.
Yeah. And there's also a balance of like allowing yourself to discover something new. So you have to be a very curious person, which I am. And so all my non-negotiable list isn't that big. Like I basically told you like what it is, but otherwise like I'm pretty adventurous. Like all it's hard for me to say no. So I'm like, because I'm nosy.
I love it. Is there anything that you did that you were like, I didn't think I'd like it, and I was so surprised that I liked it, or I had a good experience, or it was delicious, or
Oh, there's a lot of those. I can't even name it, but that's the thing. Like my life is all about being curious and opening doors and being like, who are you and what is this business? And my dad owned a jewelry and antique business, so like I grew up with this small business mindset, supporting local, buying from little shops versus bigger stores. So that's that curiosity bit. And you know the girls from Vincent, Angie and
yeah, amen.
Amanda, yeah. And that's what I always tell them. I'm like, one day I was like, what is that little thing? Because I've known them forever, like over 10 years ago. And I was like, what is this little like cute store? And I just opened the door and immediately just like became friends with them. And yeah, it's like that curiosity thing. So I'm often surprised, but it's because I go in with a positive mindset.
Yeah, you're like, what's the potential here? Instead of like,
Yeah.
what could be negative about this?
Yeah.
Is there anything about influencing that we wouldn't know, but you're like, this is the reality of what it's like to do this job?
So this concept of like running it like a business, knowing and understanding how to monetize, the idea that like every project or every assignment has its own project timeline. And maybe this is what I can talk about. You're working with a big brand who's reviewing your content, they're editing, they're going to change things. You're going back and forth, they're commenting on the video, change this, edit that. So like there's a lot of back and forth. it's not just like, okay, I made the video and I could just post it. There's a lot of stuff in the back end. Being ready for that and being ready for having to change the video or change the wording, whatever it is. So it can get pretty heavy. So yeah, running it like a business, and also just the concept of like it's a one-man show from the outside, but really you have to like build all these skills and you're always learning, using the new features. Yeah, it's just you're always evolving and you have to just keep going and keep evolving. Otherwise, you'll get stale pretty quickly.
How long does it take to come up with the concept, to create it, to go back and forth with the edits? Like, how much time do you like to have for a project before it gets released?
It is a lot of work, but it's honestly, it's whatever the brand says and does, and that's what it goes, like
It's
you don't
different.
really you're just like, okay, you need this and you need it posted on this day. Okay, you commit to that. And then you just do your very best to get it all done in between. So you're usually going by their lead because sometimes they have their plotted dates and timelines, but it doesn't work out necessarily. So sometimes they'll eat up into your time or they'll give you an extension, but oftentimes the delivery date doesn't move and you're just adjusting in between.
Do you find that you now have to go out and still look for new partnerships, or do you mostly get approached 10 years in, 10, 15 years in?
Right now I'm in my I'm tired phase. So I'm a bit passive, unfortunately. It does like play into the success of your account. Like I don't feel like I'm doing the most that I should be,
Hmm.
but I also like I don't like push myself where it doesn't make sense, or I just go where I'm supposed to be, and that's the path of least resistance because I'm very busy right now, like
Yeah,
just in
fair.
all aspects. So I'm doing less proactive approach, but I did hustle a lot when I was first getting started. I was sending media kits to different brands and pitching ideas and just like driving that business,
Yeah, you had to
which,
work really hard to get where you are to be able to be a bit more
yeah,
passive. I
yeah,
mean, of course you're tired. It's what? It's at the end of December and you're, a mother and you have a full-time job and. But like, let's not negate all of the work that you did to get to the point where you're just a clear choice for someone if they want to partner with an influencer, with a creator. You've built how many people? Like you've like over 41,000 people on TikTok, don't you?
yeah, 40.4 thousand on TikTok. And then I'm at a stagnant, I think it's 18,000 on Instagram. It doesn't grow as fast. I don't know. For
Gosh.
me, it's not growing as fast. I've been at the same number for a while.
Is there anything about being an influencer that you don't like?
That I don't like. There's lots. It's again, like we were talking about this negative connotation with the word. And the reason that exists is because there's a lot of bad people doing bad things, or just it's this constant selling to people that I have guilt. Like that, if there's guilt, I have that. Like, that's why I'm like, well, I'm not buying stuff all the time. I'm reusing things in my closet. It's also not good for the environment. Like, I understand that. So I want to like I always share like the real version of things, like I'm a real person. I make my own money. I'm not going to just spend all my money on things. Like I don't want people to spend all their money on things that they see. I'm very conscious of that. So I would hate to have like overly influence someone from buying something. Like when people are like, "Oh, what lipstick is that?" It's like doesn't matter. Just go get a red lipstick. It doesn't have to be the same one, like so, or just use, I'm sure you have like a red lipstick somewhere kind of thing. But yeah, we always feel like we have to go buy exactly what is being promoted. So like this overconsumption thing is the negative aspect. And then there's just like if you think about like the beauty world, and like there's so many like there's so much rivalry or people lying or faking results. And now, speaking of like when we were talking about Ozempic, this is another area that's like very complex, and how people share if they're going on Ozempic, and as a plus size creator, if you're losing a lot of weight and then you're no longer plus size, and but you've monetized on this plus size audience. Like there's so much
Right.
behind that. It's very complicated. Yeah, like and then it's like they're sharing their journey. Okay, if you're sharing your journey, does that mean you're promoting the use of it? And or if you've decided, you know what, this is for me and I need this for my health. Because like I have PCOS and like I've thought of it. I've thought of it. I'm like, is this for me? Because they're using it like in micro doses because it helps with insulin resistance. Like that's my wall. And so I'm like,
Oh.
imagine if I can bring the wall down because like I work out so much and I eat well and it's like it's not that I want to be skinny, but I'm tired of like this wall that like won't come down. So
Hmm.
I think about I'm like, okay, if I started, I would have to bring my people along because it's like all of a sudden
Oh.
so it's like it's so loaded.
It's like the decision's not your own.
Yeah, or I feel like I would owe something to my audience because I remember my reaction when all of a sudden there's an influencer I'm following and then she's like it's like the next day she's like extremely thin and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, please explain. And also like tell us what you're doing, girl. Like if you're on a workout routine that's really helping, like tell us. Like we all want to know.
Right, because you're following her because she's putting out content that you're interested in because she's doing mid-size
She's
content.
like me. Yeah.
Mm, I get it. Right.
Yeah.
So, is there a really good community of creators, influencers that you're tapped into that you can sit with your phones down and be like, I had a fucking day?
I don't actually have a lot of like creator friends. I have more like small business friends
Mm.
who are also on online. But yeah, I do find like it's a bit of like an isolating thing. Like I know a lot of local creators like when we go to events and stuff like I'm not alone. I know them, but yeah, I don't really have like a group to kind of like hash those things or it would be nice to have a group where I could talk not even strategy, but just like, oh, how would you deal with this and what have you done with
Yeah.
that? And
Because,
yeah.
like, how do you figure out rates and lead times?
Yeah.
And
It's very like proprietary, to be honest. Like it's like I was saying, if you were lucky to meet someone that was like generous enough to offer that content or that offer that strategy or that tip, you'd consider yourself lucky, but it's kind of like people gatekeep that stuff.
okay. Is there anything about you that you've learned that's like been surprising when you look back over the last, say, dozen years?
Ugh. So I think it's more about like I think about like my values, like what are my values? I always when I've done therapy and stuff and parenting courses, it's like, okay, what are your values? So I guess my big thing is I want to be remembered as like a kind person, a nice person. That's what I tell Victor. I'm like, kindness is it's all about that. I think about like I never like insult my past self or like I don't want to look at something that I've ever done and be like, oh, that was so cringy. Because it's like, no, that person was like trying hard and then I'm very grateful for the person that I am today because of that other past person who did the work. So kind of being grateful and gentle to the past person.
Come on, lovely Chantal. I think who said it? I think it was Donald Glover or someone. They said you shouldn't hold back from doing something just because it's cringy. Like, what a waste of time on earth if you're like, I'm not going to put this out there because it might be cringy. Just like do the cringy. That's where the creativity comes through. And like you just
Yeah,
said, like that's why you get to be who you are today. You literally were like, what's blogging? I'm gonna dig into this. And like, look what you've
yeah,
created as a side job. Like, I can't believe that's your side job. So I love that you just said that and to look at your past self and to never say anything mean about her. Yeah,
yeah,
that can be hard. We look back on ourselves with all of the knowledge that we've gained because of what we've been through and we can be so judgmental and harsh with who we were,
yeah,
but we were just trying
yeah.
our best.
I've done a lot of work,
Yes,
as you can
same,
see.
same, girl.
So,
How are
yeah.
you doing today? How's life?
Life is, like I was saying, I'm in my tired phase, but I say that because I'm just like I just want to take care of me. That's my, I'm in my like selfish phase. I've always been like a people pleaser and, overachiever. And like, your girl's tired. I want to go to the gym. I want to eat healthy. I want to like get my facials. You know? I want to do my nails at home.
I love that.
Yeah. And just as far as I know, like, my fitness journey and everything, like I'm training for menopause. Like I don't, I'm seeing my friends struggling with it and it really terrifies me. And I'm like, I got this. I'm like, I'm gonna train for it. I'm gonna like gain that muscle. I wanna be healthy. I don't, I being living in a bigger body is like there's scary times where you're just like, I don't want to be tired. I don't want to be huffing and puffing putting my shoes on and like it's not me. Like my energy inside is so high and I'm like I feel like I can live forever and I just want my body to keep up with me. So that's where I'm at. That's where my head is at.
Well, thank you for sharing everything about what's going on and what it's been like. And I'm just watching with admiration from the other side of my phone because
Thanks.
I love what you share. I love that you keep it really real and that you're a real person behind that screen. And that if I run into you in the grocery store and you're yelling at Victor, I'm like, there she is. She's
No, you didn't.
real. No, you didn't see me do
No,
that.
you didn't see me.
But yeah, is there anything that I didn't ask you or anything that you'd want to say about you or what you do that we didn't have a chance to touch on?
There's one more point I wanted to make, and it's the concept of like trying hard is not cringy and, being a hustler. And because some people get things very easily, some people are sort of like born in at the right time in the right place and they have the money to do things. And I've always been a person that really has to push to get results and I have to try hard. And, I always wanted to be like class president and I never got elected. But next year I tried again, didn't get elected, but it's like I don't let those things hold me back. And I kind of want other people to see that too. And like you just don't hold back, keep trying, keep pushing. And it's not uncool to try hard.
Gosh, you're lovely. I hope someone who's listening to this is like, maybe I'm just going to try that thing or do that thing or put that content out there. And also, it doesn't have to be perfect before you do it. Just do the thing. Like I recorded a podcast with a friend of mine, Carla, and she's the one who said to me, I was talking to her about coaching and podcasting before I launched it. I was talking to her this summer and I'm like, I just have this like buzz under my skin about podcasting. I just want to share the people's stories. And she was like, stop overthinking it, do it. And I'm like, oh, like, right. I think we can have this criteria set up for ourselves. Like, don't share it until it's this. Don't share the video if it's over 3 minutes in length because Instagram says it's not going to perform well. Like, just do the stuff you want to do and try it and be so kind to the version of you that just tried the thing because that's how we get to the next version of ourselves. That's how we just keep building and evolving. And if we get to be gifted with this like life on this earth, like let's just keep trying these things. So I love that that's what you wanted to say before we jump off. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of this time with me. And yeah, you're a bright light when you come up on my Instagram.
Oh, thanks, Nadine. You too.
Yeah. Mwah.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Bye.